So today we're doing the help session for the Storyteller's box. This is going to help walk you step by step through what each piece or what each craft needs. This is part of our Fairytale and Folklore Festival, which has been an all summer long event. We're finally reaching to the end of it here, so this is kind of a big deal. The Fairytale and Folklore Festival was made possible in part by a grant from the Institute of the Museum and Library Services to the Traverse to Sioux Cooperative that helped us do all this really cool stuff. Check out your emails afterwards because there's going to be an evaluation that helps us tell people that we did what we said we would do, and it helps us get more money in later years to do more awesome stuff like this. So we're really looking forward to how today's going to go. And actually, I'm going to start with my first craft. So I'm going to spotlight my craft screen so you guys can see that while I'm still talking. Yes.
How cool is this?
This is very cool. And I was able to pick up my box yesterday. The box is awesome.
Isn't it something?
Oh.
You want to save the box.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the very first craft I'm going to be doing is the window fairyland instructions. So to do this one, you actually need to dig all the way to the bottom of your box, which maybe not be the best thing to start with, but I thought this was going to be the easiest thing to start with. So at the very bottom of your box, you're going to have these really cool line designs sitting down there. These are for parents to be able to put on windows with washi tape, which is the other thing you're going to be needing. In addition to that, the kids will then also need their tissue paper and a paintbrush with a cup of water. Just for the purposes of today, I have made a makeshift window so you can see it. The washi tape is supposed to be put on a window, so I discussed to have a conversation between you and your kiddo about what they want in their fairyland. I just did a simple house. This can go on a window, this can go on a mirror, this can go on the car window, this can go on a glass plate, whatever you want to do. It works best if you do something see-through, of course. And then once you've got your image, you can just rip and tear the tissue paper into whatever sizes you want. I'm just going to do a little bit of testing here. So if I want my house to be purple and yellow and blue, I'm going to just test those corners real quick, make sure everything works the way it's supposed to, like that, which is a little bit more difficult to do on a upright window, I will grant you. But then you can either use your paintbrush and paint them on like so, or if you want, you can dip your tissue paper in the water all the way in, all the way in. And
yeah, I bet if you had a bowl, that would be super easy.
Yeah, that would probably be easier than my little cup.
Yeah.
And then it just adheres straight to the window, and you can mix and match your colors by overlaying them. So you can have a discussion about, you know, what does green and yellow, or what does blue and yellow make when they mix together? What does red and yellow make when they mix together? All that kind of stuff. And so you just let it sit on the window. Make sure it's nice and wet all over. And as you can see, it sticks really well. I don't have it all watered up. And then you just leave it up on the window for a while. I did some experimenting, and it takes about half an hour or so for the water to completely evaporate and things to fall off, in which case you get to start again. So that is the first one. Ta-da!
Really cool.
All right. I'm going to do the second one. So let's
Want me to spot you, Diane?
yeah, let's do that. And then I have when I'm done with it, I have something to pull up and share. So make sure that I can do that too. We're going to do the fairy doors first, because that's the one that you have the most creative leeway with, and the one that actually I had the most fun with. So you have in your box a piece of wood, which just by itself, I just love this piece of wood. And taped to it is a really small wooden bead, which would be the doorknob for your door, if you want to use it. Okay, so I made a door already for you to see. There's my fairy door. You can see that I added just some odd stuff that I had at home here. These are just, you know, funky little jewels. There's paint in your box. You can use paint, but let me show you what else you can do to a fairy door. Because it's wood, you can sand this, which means if you want to, you know, make the bottom flat or something like that, you can change the shape of this. But let me pull this up here and share this with you just a second so you can get an idea of what else you can do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Okay, can you see my screen, you all?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see the doors?
Yes.
All right, so let's just talk about this a tiny little bit. You can add little metal pieces like wire, just wire. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can hack off a piece of a nail for a doorknob. Look at this one right here. You'll pull this one up. All of this you could actually do with paint, but just glue on some wire. I would like to make the doorknob out of a small pebble because I just love collecting rocks. Hey, Mr. M, do you love collecting rocks? Please say yes. This is my other favorite one, you guys. Look what you can do with sticks. Good grief. It's so beautiful. And then this one is more, it's round like our door. So if you have a hot glue gun, let me just say this, you guys, if you don't have a hot glue gun, it's such a cheap thing and the best thing you will ever purchase, ever, if you do crafts. So you could glue stones all around your door. You can paint this part of it, just paint the lines on and put, oh yeah, 2 doorknobs, never thought about that. Or you can just use your sticks like this to make an outline around the door. So there are a lot of different things. And then you take your door outside and you put it by a tree, at the bottom of the tree, because a fairy is going to find the door. And then when you do that, you tell me who lives behind that door. You just let me know. I'm around. Okay? I love this project.
Yes.
The round door in your examples made me think of the Hobbit doors.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. I agree.
Did you have somebody just cut these, or can you buy these someplace?
Arteza, which is an online art supply
Art
place.
supply.
You can get them on Amazon too, but I
Okay.
love Arteza, Arteza, and they are not expensive.
Okay.
So you might have one on every one of your trees. All right, Afton.
I am next. We are gonna make our Robin Hood pouches. So you need your piece of felt and your paper plate, your Sharpie. You're going to take your plate and you're gonna trace a circle around, I already did it for myself, around your felt. So you can have a circle, and then we didn't supply scissors, so you're gonna need a scissors yourself. And cut around this quick. I left my done sample at work, so I could do this.
So this is where you can collect all those little rocks and things that you're going to need when you're making a fairy door. Take your pouch outside.
Yes, we did put some gold in with your Robin Hood pouch. So you have some gold pieces in there, but you can definitely go find your rocks or whatever else you need.
Oh.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to pretend that this is a clock, and you're going to put marks at 12, 3, 6, 9, and then in between each one. And then you're going to cut those to make a slit.
So just to clarify, we're not cutting from the edge, we're cutting a little
Yeah.
hole in the middle.
Yes. So just like
That was my question, was the best way to cut that. So I'm glad I'm watching you do it.
yeah. So, and I realized I don't have my camera very well. There we go. So I just fold it over and cut on those two slits. I should have gotten Brianna's craft screen. That's what I should have done. And they don't need to be perfect either. It will still work. And then when I did my sample, I realized I missed like 4 of my slits, so I had to go back and redo it. So make sure you get all of them. All right, and then you're going to take your shoestring and you're going to start sewing. So you're going to put it through each one and then keep going.
Hey, Afton, can you show us what it looks like when it's just a zoom up close on the slit with the string behind it?
So it's a double slit.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's double slit. And then keep going to get all the way through. And then when you are all done, oh, I forgot to say this too. Make sure you're sewing on the outside of it, not the inside where your Sharpie marks are. Because when you pull it to make your pouch, the Sharpie marks will be on the inside and not.
That is so cool.
It's very cute.
I know the shoestrings are a little long, but sometimes with younger kids, it might be easier to have as a necklace instead of a little pouch. So.
Or belts, you could tie it on your waist.
Yep, or a belt. So you can tie it
or
and always cut the
tie
strings as well.
To tie the tops of the strings, you can have like almost like a purse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's awesome.
That's
Very
cute.
cool.
yeah, any questions about this one?
I don't think so.
Cool.
I wish I knew about this when I was younger because I had a pouch and my mom threw it away and I was so mad. I guess I shouldn't have left it out. She told me she was going to throw it away if I left it out, and I did. Didn't actually believe her. But.
All right, does that make it my turn again?
Yes.
All right, so the next one I want to show you guys is the dragon egg instructions.
Woohoo!
These are super cool. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your tacks and your little foam egg. My set of tacks is all silver. Most people will have a mix of gold and silver, but we did run out of gold tacks in our pack of 36 or whatever. Some people only have silver like me. If you don't want silver or gold, the first step you can do, let's see if I can get this open without spilling them everywhere. The first step you can do is take some paint, some nail polish, whatever you want, and paint your tacks. So I just did this a little bit earlier so you can see what it looks like. You can do a particularly metallic nail polish, works really well and it looks really cool. But it takes a little time. You have to spread them out, paint them, and let them dry before you can get started if you want to do this. So that's why I did mine earlier.
So, Brianna, you said that you recommend painting at the beginning?
I do recommend painting at the beginning. You can paint at the end. Oh, you guys are seeing over here. You can paint at the end, but then that means sometimes the paint, usually your tacks are overlapped like so. And so if you paint them afterwards, the paint can kind of smear that scale edge so it doesn't look as dragon-like. So I recommend painting them at the beginning if you're going to paint them.
You know, you could stick them all in an empty egg carton. Just push them all through, you know, something that's up like that and then just paint them.
That's a genius idea. Yep. I was thinking
Yes.
planters foam, those big green foam
Absolutely.
blocks that are fairly cheap. You can also stick them all in there. So you have to lay them out and paint them first. If you're going to do that, you can paint a bunch of different colors if you want to make patterns.
Right. Or just a box, you know, an empty Amazon box.
Empty cardboard box. Everybody's doing online shopping right now, right?
Some of us are.
Once your
Those are
tacks
more than others.
are done, once your tacks are done and dry and ready to use, you're actually going to start on the bottom of your egg. So you should notice there's a point to your egg and a bottom to your egg. We're going to go on the big fat bottom and just put one tack in the middle, and then you're going to surround it by an overlapping layer of more tacks. So they're going to make a circle that overlaps. You can overlap just a little bit like this, or you can overlap a lot like that. I think overlapping a lot makes it look more scale-like, but it's totally up to you what you want to do. So you're just going to go around in a circle, around your first one, and it takes some time. I will warn you, it does take some time, but I find it very meditative and kind of thin. And you're just going to go in concentric rings and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until the whole thing is full of tacks. And then you have your dragon egg.
That is so cool.
It is.
I think that one's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
They look really cool when they're done. We've actually seen some pictures of people who got their boxes and have already started. She made she did a gold and then silver and then gold layer and then a silver layer, so it alternated colors. It looked really cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yep.
So my only question when I was reading the instructions was, what does it look like at the top?
You know, I haven't got one to show you unless you want me to work my way through this, which takes some time. But basically you're gonna do, here, let me spotlight my video again. You're gonna do the opposite. So instead of starting with the dot and having it in the middle and overlapping everything, you should have one last one that goes at the very end that overlaps the last ring. So it covers all the edges. Should be. And if your rings aren't perfect, that's totally okay. Nothing is ever perfect in nature anyways. So if your rings aren't perfect circles, you can definitely just keep adjusting as needed to make it work.
Great. The next one we're going to do is the fairy jar, which is this one. And this is another one of those that if you have a hot glue gun, it is a whole lot easier to do. So you have a jar of stuff. In there is the paper that you need. Oh, here's the one that I made already because it was just so much fun. And let me put the light in there so Malcolm can see the light. Hang on. I should have the lights off. Can you see the light shining in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
So this was really fun. I might make a few more of these, you never know. So you have a fairy in your jar, and you have some beaded trim in your jar. You have a tea light. Don't forget when you use a tea light, you got to pull that little tab out or it won't work. And you have a flower, which you can choose to use or not use. If I did it again, I would go outside and get some sticks and natural elements myself, but you can do whatever you want. So the first thing you want to do is put your fairy inside the jar. And you want her to be literally attached to the edge of your jar. Let me hold this up here. Okay, so you see how she's flat against the jar? And make sure that she's as close to the middle as she can be, because then you can see her no matter how the bottom of your tissue paper and the top of your tissue paper comes out. Okay. You can glue her with regular glue. I hot glued it and I only put hot glue on right here, and right here. Because if she's not perfectly flat against the jar, she's more, she's a little bit off the edge of the jar. She looks more three-dimensional rather than just being flat up against the jar. So that's the first thing you want to do, is put her in there and make sure she's affixed before you do the fun part, which is this little container is Mod Podge. It's more Mod Podge than you need, but you know. And I have a bunch of these brushes, which are the best thing ever. And you're just gonna put that Mod Podge, slap it all over the outside of the jar. And don't worry about getting too much because it will dry clear. Mod Podge is awesome. It takes overnight. So you want to be sure to do this and put it aside. You can work on the dragon egg. That's going to take a little while to put all those tacks in. And then you're going to take your tissue paper and wrap it around the outside of your container. The mistake I made when I did the first, this is the second one I did. I didn't cut the paper to be exactly the size of the jar the first time. Big mistake. So take the time to actually make the paper the size of the jar. It's really hard to cut that paper off after it's glued to the jar. And don't worry about the wrinkles, because the wrinkles look kind of cool and they make the fairy look really cool. Okay, seriously, I'm going to turn the light off in here. Hang on.
I know they've heard from a few other people who have boys that they are going to make something else besides for a fairy. It's because the boys don't want a fairy, like they're going to do a shark or something like that.
A shark?
Yep. If you've got blue tissue paper with a shark and those pirate coins,
Absolutely.
excellent.
So.
Good idea.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yeah, no, it looks
No,
really
I
cool.
love it. I really hope we have extra boxes so I can make some of these things.
Yes.
I also want them to go to the patrons.
That first. So then the beaded part you can put around the top. You don't have to use this bead stuff. I just like it because it's cool. And when the ends dangle off, that's really cool. But you can put raffia on here. You could put, if you have really cool ribbon at your house that you would rather use, and then just stick on the flower, or fall leaves from outside would be really cool right now, would be really cool with a fairy. Very tiny, a bundle of very small sticks would be really cool. And then put on the lid, because you don't want her to get out, you guys. Done all that work to collect her, don't let her out. There you go. I love this project.
Yeah.
That's your fairy jar.
Very nice, very nice.
All right, me again. So we are gonna make our wands. So you have your dowel, and then you have a bunch of colored ribbon, and then we have some wood colored washi tape. So you're gonna take your washi tape, and you're going to put it, I'm gonna have a little bit of overlap on my end. I'm gonna wrap it. The only hard part about washi tape is, for me at least, is to make sure that it stays like nice and I don't get little air bubbles. So I have my thumb behind it as I'm turning it to keep it nice and
Flat.
flat. There we go. The few times I've tried this, I was absolutely terrible at it and it had a lot of air pockets, but it still worked. So there you go. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. And then,
You are very good at that, actually.
well, if you looked really close, you'd see some air bubbles. But
would it help to go at more of an angle? Just curious.
no, because I tried it both ways, and I feel like having a little bit of an angle works, but also keeping it straight works and just kind of moving it down. Because yeah, I tried it at an angle the first time thinking that would work best. But I think no matter what, you're going to have air bubbles. So
That's okay. It gives each wand an individual character, right?
yeah.
Yep.
And there's also different kinds of wood washi tape, so you may not have the same exact one that I have. Just for time, I'm just gonna make the air bubbles to go a little bit faster. You're probably bored watching me do this. And then cut it with the scissors to make that nice line. Otherwise, you know, when you tear washi tape, you get
The ripped effect, yep.
the ripped part. And then just make sure it's nice. You can definitely tell I did this quick, but it also gives that a little bit of charm too. Like
It looks like a wand.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's stick as well, though.
Yeah.
So once you get that done, you can pick. We have some shorter pieces of ribbon, and we have longer pieces of ribbon. You can pick your favorite colors, and then you just tie it to one of the ends. If you want to double knot it, you can.
And you just tie it like you're tying a shoe, right? You don't do any special knots?
Nope, I just tie it like I'm tying a shoe, and then you can put as many colors as you want, or you can put as little colors, doesn't matter. Just tying it in there, and then you can figure out what kind of spells you want, if you want to do some Harry Potter spells, if you want to create your own, and what they do. So here is one. Like I said, there's tons of different colors of ribbons for you to choose from. I know everyone has their own favorite colors. Mine changes by the day. So you can pick whatever you want.
Very nice. All right. And we're going to spotlight my craft video for the very last one. All right, the very last craft we're going to talk about today is the magical leaves. And this one, the only thing in your kit box is the white pen. It's the only thing you need. But you do need to go outside and gather some magical leaves, and which I actually did this yesterday. You can get big leaves, you can get small leaves, round leaves. I even went out and actually got a really, really, really skinny leaf, and it is curled up, so it's not quite as good. But if you want, you can press them flat between some books so they don't curl up like mine have. I did go out and try and get some fallen leaves that had changed colors just to test and see. I have found these to be a little too brittle. The pen tends to break through them instead of writing. So even though they look really cool, they're a little harder to deal with, but you're welcome to try. Once you decide what kind of leaves you want, you just take your pen out and you give them colors. So you can give them swirls, you can give, with my long skinny one, I just started doing triangles, and I was going to fill the whole thing up with triangles before the event started today. You can trace the veins and just use those as guidelines, kind of like a Zentangle. So you can fill this with circles, and then the next one can be filled with triangles. And what you want to do while you're doing this, just fill them however your heart desires, to be perfectly honest. They're just fun decorations. You can do these first and then add them to your fairy jar if you want. You get a bunch of small leaves.
Can you hold some of the leaves up closer to the camera?
Absolutely.
So you can see a little better?
So this is the one I literally just drew where you trace the lines, and I filled up each individual ones. Here's some swirls I was doing. As you can see with the pictures, you can do all one thing on a leaf, or you can do a bunch of different things on a leaf. Did you guys see the long skinny one? Did I get that one up?
Yeah, hold that one up closer.
So here's my, this one really likes to curl up. Here's my triangles.
Looks like a snake. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while I'm thinking about it, on the back side of each and every one of your instructions, there's some questions to help you think about what kinds of stories you might tell with these. So what magical powers do your magical leaves have? Where did you find them? Who uses them? Is your dragon and your egg fearsome or friendly? Does it have a protected mama or does it sit all by itself? What sound does a dragon make? Who lives in your fairyland? So there's all kinds of storytelling questions on the back as prompts to help you think about how you're going to use all your new cool props. Does that cover everything we've got in the box? I think that's everything in the box.
Nope. We have a subscription to Creative Bug, and Creative Bug has a line drawing by Lisa Condon. She talks about line drawing, and I think that would be really helpful on the leaves because she has a lot of different designs that she shows us. So
Right.
Huh?
Awesome.
might be worth looking into if you want to be really cool and intricate on those leaves.
You could also interlibrary loan the Zentangle books, which are full of crazy, amazing pattern ideas. So
Yep.
there you go.
Yeah, so I think that's everything. And I hope everybody who watches this video and everybody who had a box has a blast doing them, hanging out with, you know, older and younger siblings and parents, and just all working together and telling stories to each other, because that's the coolest part to me, is being able to tell your stories.
Exactly.
And if you have any questions, you can give us a call here in Waseca or probably Sueur for the next week. And ask us your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them.
All right.